We are back with another Rick and Morty review with my favourite friend of all time, ChardBotham.
Hey,
How's it
we're
going,
Rick and
man?
Morty. We're back. We're still watching this shit.
Yeah. I
So yeah.
yeah, so this one was bad.
It's I mean it's not as bad as
No.
like most of the bad episodes this season, but it's still kind of bad.
I kind of put it on the same rating as I would put like the dragon episode.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, because the dragon episode was way worse for me.
Yeah, I mean for me it was like very similar in the sense that it was just like a completely pointless and like meaningless like experience for them to be going on just for the sake of like putting in some like sexual jokes and like some just kind of like weird surrealism.
That is what that reminded me of the dragon episode was the like
The
sexual
incesty bit.
bit. Yeah.
It was like double incest because it was like Rick and Morty making out, and also the two aliens that had been in the egg together making out.
Yeah. So yeah, they just keep having Rick have sexual experiences with his grandchildren. I
Yeah, I
don't I
mean,
don't know why I don't know
it's
why that's a
funny.
thing that they
It's
keep wanting to explore.
funny. It's funny.
Oh,
Trying to get
okay.
Tetris to start, but I can't seem to get it to work. And so I'm just mashing
Yeah.
every button, and now um,
Sure.
I can't remember what I put the start key as on my keyboard.
I gotta boot up the stream so I can watch you play Tetris.
Yeah, hey James, how's it going, man? Hey Mardola. Sorry I haven't streamed for like a week, by the way, guys. It's just because I don't know. I just haven't felt like it. But I'm definitely going to do some more. I'm not giving up.
Welcome to the chat, friends.
Oh, I figured out the button. I did it.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So just to back
Oh
up a
no,
little
I
bit,
didn't.
we are here talking about
Rick and Morty, yeah.
season 4, episode 7 of Rick and Morty, Promortyus, which is a play on the classic Damon Lindelof film Prometheus,
Yes.
in which, and this is absolutely true, in which a character says the line, "I'm a geologist. I like rocks. I love rocks. Now it's clear you two don't give a shit about rocks."
Yeah, you did a whole Prometheus review, didn't you?
Calling it a review is charitable. It's a glorified CinemaSins video basically, and I'm not
No, come on,
not
man.
not not very proud of it.
You're
But
your own biggest critic.
I am. I don't know. That has some of my better like jokes in it, but it's also not hard for my videos to have that because I just don't have very many videos. Yeah, Prometheus is very very bad. Um,
I don't know. I quite
but
like
it's more.
Prometheus.
Oh, okay. Well, it's more ambitious than this episode.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what I
of
will say.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Because like you already said, that this episode is very much, um, it's very directionless and has no real purpose or ambition behind it at all. Um,
Yeah.
and what I think is interesting about that is that there's just, especially in the last episode, there's just been so much like weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth over how they're above just doing classic Rick and Morty adventures. And then immediately they were like, "Yeah, okay, I guess we'll just do a classic Rick and Morty adventure."
Yeah, but
And it's one of the boring ones that everyone's gonna forget about. It's like a Raising Gazorpazorp or Look Who's Purging Now, or one of those that, you know.
yeah. I mean, it's a strange episode to me because it's non-linear. So it starts us off sort of, I guess, in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it starts off with a fair amount of like juice to it in the fact that they've just been possessed by these aliens, and they have no idea what they've just been doing for potentially weeks.
Yeah, so that is a very interesting starting point, and then nothing is actually really done with that because they just escape immediately. And then when they actually go back and tell the start of the story up to the point where the episode started, it doesn't really reveal anything that you haven't already been told up to that point. like about what Morty and Rick were doing during that time, about what Summer was up to, and how she got into, like, all it really does is tell you how she got into the position that she did.
But
But there's not really anything like.
she doesn't really do anything to earn it.
Yeah, it kind of just happens.
Yeah.
So that is like the one thing about this episode you could point to as being like unique or special relative to other Rick and Morty episodes. But
Well, not even. I wouldn't even say that, because I think they've done non-linear stuff before. Though I can't quite think off the top of my head now if they when
yeah,
they have
I imagine
done
they
that.
probably have.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say it's not common enough. Like, if they have done it before, they haven't done it often enough for this to not like feel at least like a little bit different, I guess.
Yeah. So it starts off with that kind of thing, and then we have this kind of quite funny dialogue, which I quite enjoyed, about Pornhub. I don't know why. It was just like, it was kind of funny that they just shot off these like gross alien things, and then they're like Morty's having a discussion where he's justifying having a Pornhub account.
Just
And-
immediately back to arguing about some dumb bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Which is more of that classic Rick and Morty that we're
classic.
salivating at our lips for.
They're just riffing, bro. Oh, that's what I love about us, is we can just riff. We don't have to try so hard.
Yeah, and then the clip of interdimensional cable that they did have is like so bad. And they're like, yeah, man, we can just like make this shit up and we're fine. It's like they're still like kind of trying to reassure themselves. Like, it's getting quite interesting how often they kind of like seem to make excuses for why the episode we just watched wasn't very good. Like, it
really
even
does
does that
keep
shit
happening.
that we were criticizing it for doing last week, where it ends with them going, well, it's not really about anything. Like what?
Yeah, did we learn something?
Yeah, did we
we're all
learn
assholes.
something?
Everybody sucks. Okay, the lesson was like self-loathing nihilism again.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. And it was such like a nothing episode in terms of like, I liked the 9/11 gag because it was just like sort of shocking and it kind of surprised me. But I mean, you know, and I liked him talking about Saudi Arabia and you know, that was kind of funny, but it wasn't to do with anything. It was just like, it wasn't like about like Rick and Morty being like war gods, even though it had that sort of vibe to it when they were
Even though Rick says the line, "I am the god of death," so there's that again.
Yeah, but it's not about that, is it? It's not them coming to terms with the fact that they are godlike. It's not a
No,
piece.
yeah.
It's really about nothing. It's very much, very clearly about nothing. And they themselves say it's about nothing. So I mean, when we're now analyzing it and discussing it and trying to unpack it, it just generally, we're just left shrugging our shoulders and being like, well, yeah. I mean, maybe let's give it like a rough summary in case anyone didn't see it. But
Sure, yeah.
But okay, so it starts off with them in this cave, and they've got like these kind of alien babies in their mouth, and then one of them gets caught and comes off of Morty, and then like Rick shoots them both, and they're like, "Oh, where are we going?" And then basically what happens is they kind of like go undercover in this world where they sellotape like the like babies to their face. And we discover...
Can we just call them face huggers, because that's basically what they are.
Yeah, face huggers, yeah. And then we discover that there's been a significant amount of time, a fairly significant amount of time, I don't know. And then during that time, Rick's been making like kind of YouTube videos. I'm going to do versus mode. Rick's been making YouTube videos, and Morty is somehow like, I don't know, like Morty is like, what is he? Like, he's like popular?
He's a commander.
He's like a commander, yeah. But it's been like barely any time. Like,
so the implication, I think, is that he's been commanding like those below him in the like arbitrary hierarchy or whatever, to create a vessel that will take the facehugger eggs to Earth, so that they can do like parasitic imperialism on all the Earth people.
Yeah,
and then when they wake up, they realize, oh, that's bad. Actually, don't do that.
yeah. I mean, like, so how much time do you think passed? Like a day, like 2 days, like, or do you think it was like much longer, like a month, like? Because by like,
I think they say at one point, but I don't remember. It's like roughly a month,
yeah, like, cause
if I remember correctly.
Beth doesn't seem like, oh, where have you been? Like she doesn't seem that fast. Like, so I can't imagine they were away for that long.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Like I really, but like I don't think they even thought through it. Like I don't think that's like an important thing they were going for. Like it just genuinely baffles me like how it was just like the most like non-story. Like that's the thing that really bothers me about this was that like they got like they got like kidnapped on this planet and they escaped like so easily, and like they destroyed all the aliens easy, realized they left Summer, came back, got locked up, then we got the backstory, then they escaped easily and killed them all again. Like there's like 3 different sequences where they're like killing all the killing all these people.
Yeah. And as was something you mentioned just reminded me of how like they go back and they get captured. Like they've the second scene of them doing a shitload of genocide, they're in these like robot suits with swords, which like okay, fine. Like
but
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's not like super appealing or anything, but like it's okay or whatever. And then they get to the throne room, and then in the next scene when they're in the prison, they're just like not wearing the suits anymore.
No, yeah.
So if we're gonna do like a plot nitpick thing, is like how the fuck
it's objectively bad now.
It's objectively bad. How the fuck did the facehugger aliens like get them out of their robot suits that they just did that with? Like, I don't fucking know. James, yeah, we'll have this on,
yeah, it will be
second channel dick pics afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
So in terms of plot progression, it is a little like questionable in a lot of places, but then on the wider like symbolic level or whatever, especially if we're looking at this as like, okay, Rick and Morty is the show where they do meta commentary now, or like if Rick has a line after they joke about the 9/11 thing where he's like, yeah, I'm political now.
Yeah,
it's just the most like limp dick.
He didn't like that.
Like, wow, pretty edgy for us to like reference 9/11. Like, I don't know.
Can we just talk about how this episode failed the Bechdel test as well?
Oh yeah, it absolutely did. We're bet like it seems like
another reason why it's objectively bad.
Yeah. We proved it's bad by showing it passes or doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
I think only thing
they seem annoyed by having to have Beth there on the side, like, oh, you said you'd keep me more in the loop this year, but then like clearly they don't really want to actually involve her, which I'm okay with because all the Rick and Beth drama in season 3 was really bad. So like, if they want to not do that, that's fine. But then they have another moment, just like in I think the premiere had this, where they just yell at Summer like, "Oh, fuck you, Summer! Nobody wants you here."
Yeah.
Speaking like from at least what I feel is kind of like the fan base's perspective, that they don't really like Summer or want her on the adventures. So,
well, I would say that Summer was the best part of this episode. I like what they sort of did to her character. Like they made her a bit more like a valley girl, like kind of, I don't know, the way that she was like, you don't know my story, and like wanting to listen to the podcast. Like these were all things that like I didn't have a problem with in any way. Like, you know, these were aspects of Summer's characterization that I enjoyed. But I mean, what real stress are any of the characters in at any point in this episode? There's like no conflict because we've already established that like these creatures are no threat to Rick and Morty.
And well, it's like, until the plot needs them to.
Oh
be,
yeah,
but like,
and fucking Dan Harmon's like whiny voice acting in there as well.
Yeah, I've always seen like 4 of the different facehugger guys.
and going like,
and they're all the same.
Oh, you haven't seen me before, but now it's my turn. Like it's so like it's so like blah 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 blah. Like then the story. This is like they don't even have like a good enough reason for like Rick and Morty to get like captured by these like fucking face huggers in any way. They're just like, oh look, it's so wet and eggy, and that's like turned into a joke. It's like every thematic part of telling this story is a gag. Like it's kind of like this like autopilot comedy script where like as long as you have all the characters being like super meta and like hyper aware of like the story they're in, then like you don't need to make any of it you don't need to make any of it believable or like grounded in any sense.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I've genuinely played D&D campaigns that like had more like than this episode. Like I have,
no, I agree. I also have.
And like if I'm playing D&D and there's some eggs in the room, like I would give my character better motivation to go and touch the egg.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's, like, fine that they just do it.
But it's, like, the whole... It's, like, what triggers the entire plot of the episode was them getting, like, taken by these eggs. Like, that's the only...
I mean, yeah. Well, I think of it this way, because, like, if we're going to talk about this as, like, a classic Rick and Morty adventure, I guess, I mean, I was the one who said that, so I guess if I'm going to talk about it that way, it is, like if they were to do this episode in season 1 or season 2 and that was how the episode started, like I probably would just think that was funny.
Yeah,
right. Like we would look at that as like, oh, that's why
but
why
the episode
we love Rick
didn't
and Morty,
start off like that.
It breaks from the convention. Oh, I guess that's true, because they don't do that till the flashback.
But the scene is very similar when into the opening scene.
At the very least then we would say like they do a flashback where they reveal like how did they get into this situation, and then it's just something stupid like
exactly.
They thought that egg was funny, so they looked at it. So like I do think that is kind of funny, but the thing is that since this episode doesn't have any of the more like pretentious thematic shit that a lot of the other episodes this season have had, because it is more along the lines of the dragon episode, like you said, kind of all you can really judge it for is how funny it is and how entertaining it is, and it's a little harder to get into that on like an analytical level, because
I think we can do it
a lot. I mean, we can, but that kind of stuff is going to be more subjective. Like
first scene.
I mean, all of it is subjective, but we can't. Like,
I think
I'm not going to go through every individual joke and be like,
we should.
Okay, here's how funny this joke is, and here's how it could have been funnier. Like, I don't know. That's less fun than me. Like,
I think people would love.
I think people weird, like repressed bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, was it me or did Justin's voice sound slightly different in this episode? Or was that just me?
It sounded a little bit more like improvisational maybe at parts, but
it was just like Rick and Morty just both sounded a bit odd to me, but maybe it's just like the way I was watching it.
I don't know. I didn't notice that.
But yeah, I mean, okay, so the first joke on the Pornhub thing, that was funny. Then all the stuff, and I'm talking about everything we see up until that 9/11 gag. Is it entertaining? Is there anything there that you remember? Considering we both just watched it, like it's very like new in our memory.
Yeah. I don't think so. No.
Like I think maybe they were pulling on the idea that like the face huggers from Aliens aren't like, they don't make a very good like biological system that makes any sense, right? I think that's what that was like one of their main like kind of goofs that they were having.
Maybe
because they were like, oh, how does that make any sense? Like, you know, but like obviously, and I'm not even a huge Alien fan, but I'm aware that like
me neither.
There's like the biology does sort of makes more sense than just that, right? It's not just like
no, it's more like complicated than a simple like sexual reproductive cycle, but it does have internal consistency, at least in like the first 2 movies, I think.
Yeah, it's
been
like
a while since I've watched them.
The face huggers come, they shit out a baby, and then that's another face hugger, like, which is what they were like kind of implying. It's not that at all. It's like
I didn't think it was malicious toward Alien.
No, it wasn't malicious.
I thought it was just playing on it.
They were kind of.
I thought it was a little. I mean, like I made a list of all the things that they made fun of,
Right.
in this episode. So we could
Okay.
talk about that because, again, with them like being above things, although it wasn't nearly as abrasive in this one as it has been in past episodes.
Right.
But I didn't even put Alien on that list because I don't think that the like facehugger parody thing, like if anything, it just felt like a little derivative and
Right.
unoriginal to me
Yeah,
because
it was just
they
them
basically
using
are
the
just facehuggers.
stealing the imagery.
Yeah, but except it's like in a comedic context instead of a horror context, which like
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
your
why
mileage
not?
may vary on how well that comedic context was executed, but like it's
All
fine.
right. So
So
podcasts.
things they made fun of. Yeah, so podcasting. Rick says podcasting is boring.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Nothing particularly incisive about that, and like it can't just be Rick saying that he thinks podcasting is stupid. So like that's fine.
it's
I
like
guess
it's
like
an
it's just a
objective
throwaway line.
fact. It's like it's performed like an objective fact. It's like we all know. Come on, we all know.
Yeah, we all know
podcasting-
podcasting is boring.
Yeah, we've always known
But
that.
I mean, like, yeah, I'm not gonna take that as like the writers saying that everyone who likes podcasts is stupid.
Yeah,
'cause,
obviously, that's not what they're
Dan
saying.
Harmon has a podcast. So
Does he?
it's fine. Yeah, Harmontown, I think.
Oh yeah,
That is a podcast, right? Yeah.
it was. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know if he still does it, but yeah. Okay, so right-wing vloggers who use triggered disparagingly, and do think that they're like counterculture revolutionaries, but
Yeah.
really they're just like upholding the status
I'm
quo.
guessing you like
So
that.
I kind of
I'm guessing you're a fan of that one. Oh yeah, when they attack the left, you do a little crybaby, but when it comes to the right,
But when
that's
they attack the right,
okay.
ooh, it's good. No, the episode is still bad, guys.
no,
that
I
doesn't
think
say
Rick.
And it was very like shallow.
It was
but
such an
I don't know, it was
underdeveloped like thing for like the. It was not even Rick's character as like the face hugger that's on Rick.
Yeah, but the fact that he's on Rick seemed to be like why? Because
Yeah.
even in the montage where they like fix Glorzo or whatever, he's clearly like unhappy with it.
Yeah.
And
So-
I think that's pretty deliberately because it's the one attached to Rick. Not
Yeah.
just like a weird coincidence or whatever.
So his main thing is that like he's saying it's not biological to like shit out. You know, it's biologically accurate to shit out eggs.
I think
He's saying that you shouldn't hold in the eggs. You should shit them out because that's what we're biologically made to do.
yeah. He's like the changes to the culture that they're doing of just not shitting out eggs and staying alive is like bad because the old established order of the destructive life cycle was actually like the good way of life or whatever.
And
So
that's,
he's very much like the regressive vlogger.
and that's the closest
whatever.
thing to any remote character thing in this whole episode. And it's not even
Pretty much,
really
yeah.
Rick.
Yeah, and there's not really. I mean, like I thought it was kind of a fun starting point to make fun of that type of like YouTube personality, especially with the whole like, oh, well, did I at least like sell out and sell vitamin pills or something? Like I thought that was pretty funny, but it's
Yeah.
not really developed past that.
I
Although
don't know.
with how poorly done all the other like quote unquote political stuff has been this season, I'm kind of glad they didn't try to extrapolate on it any further than that. But-
Yeah, but I mean, okay, yeah. So what else is on your list?
Okay, so there was that. There was Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
I guess we can talk about like the 9/11 thing because that's when they say like there's no guilt. Oh, it feels really good when there's no guilt. Yeah, it's just like in Star Wars and they do like the Millennium Falcon cannons
yeah.
thing, like visual gag. So I do want to talk about the fact that they commit a shitload of genocide in this episode because like I mean if you want to compare it to like Star Wars or something, like yeah, the main characters just kill endless droves of like mindless, faceless enemy people. So like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that it's like problematic or something that they kill a bunch of people in this episode because I mean that's like just trappings of
Well,
the
they
sci-fi
always
genre, I
kill
guess.
people.
But it's not really like justified within the story of the episode
For them
because
to do
I mean
that.
yeah, like they're parasites who like remove the autonomy of their hosts. So like if you can take that as justification for killing the parasites, but as they're running through killing all of them, they're also killing all the host bodies. Like
Yeah.
so you can't really construe them as being the good guys in this scenario.
Well, yeah.
But
I
the
mean,
episode doesn't really want to address that. It just wants to take it as a funny thing. Like, look, they're going to commit genocide in a wacky like action sequence that isn't all that interesting to watch, and then we're gonna make 9/11 jokes out of it.
Well, well, yeah. I mean, I think to a certain degree, it's kind of like they are aware of, they kind of like overdo genocide so much and then say like, oh well, they do it in Star Wars, like kind of to like point out that like I don't know what exactly they're trying to point out, but they're showing some kind of contrast between between like massacring people very like clearly and like referencing Star Wars, where they're a little bit more like, oh, it's good versus evil. But I really don't know what the point is, on like what they're really making a statement on, and I do think it is just like a joke. I don't think they're like really saying anything about Star Wars particularly. They're like,
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not very incisive, and clearly they're not taking it like that seriously.
no,
Like it's not as deliberate.
they're not
or
taking
up its own
any
ass
of this
as anything,
seriously.
like the train episode or whatever. So like it's fine, but it does just feed into the episode's larger problem, which is that it just doesn't really have anything unique or special going for it, or like placing it like above other episodes. I do think like the 9/11 joke, where they say like, oh, we're above that, we wouldn't do that. Oh, but Pearl Harbor, that's in bounds. Like it did seem to me that that's kind of another example of them like making reference to the fact that they feel like they're not allowed to joke about certain things, or that they're restricted to joking about them in a certain way because people are like too easily offended or whatever.
Right. Yes,
but I wouldn't have necessarily read it that way.
And I was offended.
They hadn't already said that more deliberately. If they hadn't already been saying that more deliberately and like obnoxiously in previous episodes. So it did kind of show through in that way. And like Rick saying again that he's a god is like another. So this did have like,
you always get triggered every time Rick says that he's a god.
Well, I just can't help but notice it.
You just hate it. You just hate it.
We talked about this last time, that they just keep doing the same concepts and saying the same things over and over again. And this was just like that.
So the
like
first time he said that he was a god, you were like, I fuck with that. You're like,
yeah, I was like, oh wow, really makes you think. It's kind of thought provoking about how wow, Rick is such a fucking god.
Rick should never have to say I'm a god. But that's the thing, is like all the dialogue is like all on like the surface level, like everyone is just like speaking like this weird like dumb idiot, like there's like not a single thing there's not a single bit of dialogue which is like, oh, you have to read between the lines to see what they really like think or feel. Like
I'm sure Wisecrack will find a way, but it'd be like, did you know that the Glorzo episode is actually about ideological state apparatuses?
What are they saying about 9/11, about right-wing operators? What are they saying about leeches, parasites? They suck on you, and they
like a contextual like comparative analysis with this and the Bong Joon-ho film Parasite. Rick and Morty's social commentary is on par with the Best Picture winning Parasite.
Oh man, yeah, I like literally like I can't remember, but there's just like, it's just the fact that like I can't remember the specific dialogue. Like if I watched the episode a second time, I would have been able to like write down some of the dumbest lines. But like, there's like it's just so like, it's so lazy. Like the whole thing is just like, and especially like the way that the characters are just like nonchalantly just being like breaking the fourth wall, not even to tell a joke anymore. Like just to like get over a certain bump, like just to like communicate with the audience in a way that isn't like character and like dialogue. Like just have Rick turn to the audience and say like, oh yeah, I know we said we'd include Beth in this more, but like we're not actually gonna do that. Like,
yeah, fuck that.
And I mean, it's just kind of like,
or, oh yeah, we can just riff. That's what I love about us. We can just do whatever. We can put in no effort, and everyone will fucking love it.
Yeah, everyone will just fucking like. No, they won't. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I mean, it's a dark and sad time. I really just do think Rick and Morty is just over now. Like, I think it's just like unredeemable. Like, I just don't think we're gonna get any good episodes anymore.
I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I did like what I wrote in my notes is that this episode is overall technically watchable. Is the
Oh,
words that I used. So
right.
very
I like
charitable of
that.
me, I know. But like
Technically watchable.
this one at least reaches like a base level of being kind of entertaining that most of the rest of this season hasn't been able to do.
I would
I
say,
think.
here's what I would say. I would say the last episode we watched, I would rather watch. I would say it's better because the animation is like a little bit better, and the jokes are like funnier to me.
I laughed more in this one, but
What was your favorite joke?
uh, I don't know. I didn't keep track of my favorite joke this time. I know I did that a lot the first half of the season, but
Yeah, you just stopped
yeah,
now.
I don't know. Just I guess last episode I was in kind of like a pouty mood as I was watching it, like folding my arms and sitting back in my seat and being like, no, fuck you. God, this is stupid. Yeah, fuck this shit. And this time I was just like letting myself have kind of a decently good time, I guess, because I wasn't as annoyed by like all the
Yeah,
other shit about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that's probably where the difference was for me, honestly. Like
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
it's
I really just dislike this one because it doesn't even it doesn't have a good sci-fi concept. Like it doesn't have a good sci-fi concept. It's bad storytelling. Like like there's it's not even a story to tell. Um
the one
like
story, the device they try to do of having it be non-linear and going back and revealing stuff about the past. I think I actually might have already said this, but yeah, it doesn't like reveal anything. Like it doesn't add context to any of the stuff you've already watched. So there's
yeah.
not really any purpose to doing it non-linearly.
No, no,
Like they could have just switched the order and done it all linearly, and it would have been basically the exact same experience.
yeah, it literally feels like they were just they were trying to waste as much time as possible. Like everything, like they went back home. Like why would they go back home and then go back? Like what's the narrative
So they
purpose of
can make a
that?
joke about how they don't ever do like sequels because they don't want to go back to a planet because they just like
But that's not, that can't be the
I don't know
narrative
what were they
purpose.
saying about that.
Like what's the narrative purpose of doing that? Like how is that
I
helping
mean,
the story?
I think like
There isn't a
okay,
story
like
though.
as you mentioned earlier, like there's no real like sense of stakes or danger for any of the characters, which like
Yeah.
it's Rick and Morty, so that's like kind of to be
No.
expected. But I think that if there were any stakes, and there was any sense that like they actually were in danger from these facehugger parasite monsters or whatever, like I do kind of like the idea of, oh, we escaped, but oh shit, we didn't even realize that one of our like one of the other main characters was there, and now we have to go back
But then she was
and
fine.
save them.
But she
But
was
yeah,
fine.
that's the thing is that yeah, like that like the way for that to be interesting, and I'm sure that's been done in like other, especially like fantasy stories and shit.
Yeah, because I just
But yeah,
really
there has
want
to be like a sense that
I
going back is actually dangerous, and there's risks associated
well
with that. Like that's the only way that that's an interesting plot point.
I just want to drill it in that they fuck around on the planet, they blow it up, they go back, they kill more people, they find Summer, we get the backstory, and then they kill more people and they fly away.
Yep,
Like
that's the plot.
and like they blow up the thing, and Rick is saying like, what is that like weird moment where Rick is all like, oh, I needed this, man, and Morty's like, oh yeah, let me into your like, you should let me in your head more
Oh
often.
shit! Yeah. That was I was gonna say that was the closest thing this episode had to like a character moment, which is like Rick and Morty can only ever really feel at peace and like connect with each other and not be like fighting or
I think
arguing
it
or
was a
whatever.
joke though.
Like
I was like,
when they're committing genocide, which like yeah, it is played as a joke. Like
I was trying to figure it out. I couldn't quite
a serious
understand
thing
it.
about the dark parts that like Rick and Morty have become so fucking like they're so fucked up. They can only feel
Oh,
weird.
hang on. Yeah, no, you're back now. Your voice just went weird. But I think that was my fault.
Oh shit. Okay.
What were you saying? Could you just repeat that?
Yeah, just that yeah, they're not taking it like that moment isn't taken very seriously, so it can't really be a moment of the show saying, damn, they've really like all the things that they've been put through on all their adventures and everything have made them like so fucked up that they can only ever feel anything when they're like killing a shitload of people. But yeah,
But
it's
I
not taken
swear
seriously
they've
enough for
done
that
that
to be like
before.
a statement. They've actually,
Haven't
yeah,
they
like
done that before?
Rest and Relaxation from
That was such a good
season
opening.
3 has a moment where, yeah, it shows that they're really
How
kind
can
of
they?
like on
How
their,
can they go from like? How can they go from like Rest and Relaxation or whatever it's called? The episode where they make like where there's like they purify themselves and there's like a goo version of them. And there's, like,
yeah.
how do they go from that to like this? I really
I miss
am
having episodes
so.
like that. I really do.
Yeah, I miss having episodes that we can actually like deep into and like stick our claws into and like really like discuss and open up. And you know, this was like worse. This was like worse than Family Guy or like New Simpsons. Because like at least in like New Simpsons they like at least like put effort into like the jokes like, and there's like plots. There's like an A plot and a B plot. Like Peter Griffin will be given a new job as like, I don't know, like a taco man, and like at least it's like a thing. Like at least it's a story. Like at least there's things to go through. Like at least he has a goal.
I mean,
like,
this episode objectively has a plot, so we'll give them credit for that one.
Objectively has a
structured
plot.
very unnecessarily in terms of how it's non-linear and everything, but like
I'm
it
telling
does
you,
have a progression of events. Things happen in the episode.
No. What happens is they get sucked in by a face hugger. They then become other people. So we don't know what happens. Then they escape. They blow up the planet. For no reason, really. Ultimately, just to like relax.
Other than just for like a 9/11 Pearl Harbor joke.
No, a joke is not a reason narratively. You don't do something for a joke. Like,
well, maybe Rick and Morty does. That's why
I'm
it's
not
the
gonna
smartest
go,
show of all time.
I'm not gonna go to Tesco right now for a joke. I'm gonna go to get food. Like, this, you can't do something narratively for a joke. Like, it just, you make the joke while doing the thing. So then they go back home. They go back home, and they remember Summer. Then they go back, and they get Summer, and then they go back home.
Yep.
That does not feel like a plot to me.
I think we're having connection issues again.
Yeah. But I can hear you still. Can you hear me okay?
It's a little bit weird, but I think we should be good, maybe. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so I guess like I would be okay with the plot being this simple and like limp in terms of its progression if it were actually a vehicle for anything more substantive than just like average jokes.
Well, no,
like,
not even like
that's the thing.
The thing is with comedy,
you're still cutting out.
Am I? Technical difficulties. With comedy, with good comedy, like if you think of a good comedy film, we're usually talking about farce with comedy, and farce is essentially getting something confused. There's a misunderstanding. Something goes wrong, and there's essentially a farce device in this, which is that they leave Summer there. They blow it up, then they go, oh fuck, we left Summer there. But there's no, it doesn't matter. You would, if Summer was there and she was like, her arm was fucking broken and like, or whatever, like, I don't know if there was some sort of consequence, but like she's fine. Like it's not really like a misunderstanding or a confusion if like she's just fine.
Yeah.
Like there's just like the comedy is mostly in like the absurdity of it and like Rick and Morty just like going off on like Pornhub and stuff, but it's like it's not like comedy like I respect. It's really not comedy.
Yeah, individual jokey lines that are like jokes that the writers could do in like a stand-up set or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's no reason for it to be spoken by the particular characters that it is spoken by.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's where we're at.
I talked about this in my second Rick and Morty video, about how like in Rick and Morty, like in the first couple of seasons, the show did a really good job of just deriving comedy from the characters just being who they are and like playing off of each other in that way, as opposed to this kind. And like they would do like fourth wall break stuff every once in a while. But yeah, now it does seem like a lot of the comedy is derived from like these characters not even really being characters anymore, like especially when they get into meta commentary stuff like in the last episode. It's just for them to be mouthpieces for the writers.
Yeah.
But this episode didn't have like meta commentary stuff because it didn't have, I mean it did, but not in the way where it's making like a big statement or anything. I guess it's just like a little
do you know how lazy
meta commentary here and there.
How lazy it's gone is like, what do you mean little hints? I mean, you've got like Rick driving, going like, "This is why I don't do sequels. We never go back." And then you got like Rick saying to like Jerry like, "Oh, what are you gonna add to the family dynamic?" Like,
right. Well, like, so what I mean is that there are a lot of like little meta commentary bits where they go like a little bit into a certain topic, but whereas like last episode, it was all kind of in service of a larger idea, and like what that idea was never really crystallized into anything like cohesive. But it was really, all kind of like roughly.
It was really roughly not looking good, is it? This season is really not looking good. You've got like 2 episodes that like don't make any sense and have ended with essentially a shrug. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you expect.
Yeah, we all suck. It's pointless. Fuck you.
Yeah, if you find it funny, like great. Like I laughed at some of the episodes and shit, but like it's a shame that it's just been stripped down to its most basic function, which is just like make me laugh. And like it's so funny that Dan Harmon goes all high and mighty on this story circle and about like narratives, and it's just like it's like a joke.
Well, like the show as a whole is a joke. Is that what you're saying?
When we look at the last 2 episodes, that like he actually put the story circle in it. Like, I don't know. I just don't see what like.
Did this episode follow the story circle?
No, definitely not.
Because with the nonlinear structure, I feel like it wouldn't be able to. But like if you restructure it, maybe it does.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know, but I think like
it definitely doesn't. There's no hero's journey.
You can apply the same criticism to the story circle that Dan Harmon apparently does to the Bechdel test in the last episode. But, like, making something fit the story circle doesn't make it good.
No, it's the fact that he gloats about it. It's the fact that he's got all these behind the scenes, like Dan Harmon being like, and this is what makes the story so good. And like,
this is the story circle of the ISIS werewolves finale, which they ended up scrapping. So probably no one even knows what I'm referring to. But yeah, the season 3 finale originally was going to be about ISIS werewolves on the moon, I think, and like Rick and the President were gonna team up and fight the ISIS werewolves. Damn,
we've been robbed.
So I'm really glad that we watched this show. It's like I get like, I mean we've been over this, but like what even is the fucking point anymore? Like what is their creative vision? Like what is the kind of experience that they're trying to deliver to the fans, aside from just being like a self-reflexive piece of like, yeah, this is a show that exists.
All right,
we don't really know what we're doing, and we're like insecure about writing it.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it is. It's we don't know what we're doing, we don't know what we're trying to do, but we're insecure about it. But we try our best, and they are trying their best, and whatever. It's not as good as it was. What did you think of the bee gag at the end? The Summer and her friend. Did you see that?
I did, and also the joke with Jerry right after the thing that Rick says about the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Where Jerry just gets mad and starts yelling about how, why can't I be a beekeeper or whatever. I actually like that joke a lot. I think that might be my favorite joke in the episode, because I do think that does play into what I was talking about, of how like.
How's your stream going?
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. We're almost finished.
Is it?
Hey Max, how you doing?
Do you not want to do that Ben Shapiro video?
What?
Do you not want to react to the Ben Shapiro thing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
Hey.
Max is joining in.
What's up, Miss Max?
Hey.
You need your
Hey
headphones.
Max, how you doing?
Oh yeah, good point. I'll go grab them. Alright, You just
he
say
can't
something
hear me.
back in literally a minute.
No, he won't be able to hear you. We're gonna watch
I'll
a Ben
ask Howard.
Shapiro video. He's gonna rate all the Star Wars movies.
Oh hell yeah!
Do you want to join?
Sure.
Yeah. So
are we
let's
actually
just
Ben
finish this
Shapiro Star
review
Wars
then.
content?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So to finish this review, what did you think of the Jerry thing? Do you? Yeah, it sounds like you liked it.
Yeah, I was just saying I like the Jerry joke a lot because it is just, again, like comedy derived from the characters just being the way that they are. And so Jerry's saying, like, I got into this like weird esoteric hobby, and then when no one responds, he just immediately gets like upset and like insecure about it.
Yeah.
The thing about Summer's friend like wanting to fuck him or whatever,
Yeah.
like a little bit less funny, but I still like that too. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of American Beauty.
Hey.
I have not seen American Beauty, but a friend of mine
Here's my
described the
headphones.
plot to me in detail recently, and I'm not quite sure why people like that movie. Maybe it's in the presentation. I don't know. Anyway, we have to talk about. We have to say how many Pickle Ricks out of 5.
I give it
the last
0 out of
episode
5.
Holy shit! You really
What
hated
are we
this
giving
one.
0 out of
I
5?
really hated it. The episode.
Yeah. Trash.
You didn't see it.
What episode? Rick and Morty.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Max has come in smelling of alcohol.
Soz.
He's come in fairly slozzered.
I'm not even.
You
I'm
gotta-
not even. I'm quite sober actually.
You got to cope with Ben
I need to
Shapiro
disconnect
somehow, I
my
guess.
phone and then I'll be good.
Yeah, I would give this episode 2.5 Pickle Ricks out of 5, because again, it is technically watchable, and it's less annoying than most of the rest
I
of the
love that.
season.
I love that
And
description.
it's not like
Technically
good,
watchable.
but it's just like a very breezy, like, okay. Like I don't hate the fact that I watched that. So yeah, I don't know. It's passable. And let's give our Pickle Rick ratings for the last episode as well.
Oh, we didn't do that last time.
Yeah,
give
we
that
didn't.
one a 1.
And I give that one a 1.5. Just
You're
like
much-
the dragon
you're much
episode,
nicer
because
than me.
it's not the absolute worst thing that exists, but it's pretty close. So 1.5 Pickle Ricks out of 5.
Brilliant.
Okay. So that's it. We just destroyed
We just
Rick and Morty
wrecked
with
it.
facts and logic, and now we're gonna watch Ben Shapiro destroy people who like The Last Jedi with facts and logic, I'm assuming.
That's right. Well, let us know what you thought about this episode of Rick and Morty down below. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for enduring with us through this fucking shit show of a season.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, do you
Or
see
if
the
you're one
comment?
of those people who stopped watching and you just watched these episodes for us because we're such amazing internet personalities, thank you for boosting our egos.